This is going to be a screamer. 78 laps in total. And here's how they'll line up. Greg Murphy has pole position, a 1:25.9. And look at these tiny, tiny margins. Scaife, Kelly, Radisich, Seaton, Ambrose. It's only 0.17 of a second.
The quite incredible thing about that qualifying performance was that any one of those top 6 or 7 drivers really could have taken pole position. It was that close. John Bowe inside the top 10. Stephen Richards 13th, Stephen Ellery 16th in the Super Cheap Autosport.
You've got to get beyond the top 15 to be 1 second plus. In fact, it's closer to the top 20 cars. Look at this Barguana, McLean, Bernard. We heard from him on the grid before. He's been ill. Canto, a great run. Consider he didn't qualify or pre-qualify for Phillip Island round 1.
Look out way further back through the field. Brad Jones still struggling in the Aussie Male Ford. He's back in 25th. Matthew White, one of the Konica entries from last year. He's made the trip all the way to Adelaide. Thomas Mazira, Anthony Trapp, Tyler Mecklin driving the Ultratune machine this weekend. And Paul Romano in the Holden Young Lions entry, a little bit further back than he'd like to be. And
remarkable for Paul Wheel to be back out on that track in position 33 after such an incredible bone shaker yesterday at turn 9 where he clouded the wall. And Paul Morris had a heavy clout with the wall just off on this grass that you can see here at the moment. And also Trevor Ashby, incidentally, will start from pit lane. Barry, nervous time for everybody, sweat in the hands, heart rate goes up, but the temperature is cooler.
Well, it is. It's gone down about 5 degrees in the last half an hour, and the word has it the rain is about an hour away. It's at some point somewhere. I can't remember the name of it, but it's
out there somewhere.
Yeah, exactly that. It's such a high. The temperature's good for racing. It's a lot better than it was earlier on. It was very, very hot.
Well, there was always talk for showers this evening, but it appears as though that may have come forward. But at least they're under overcast skies now. And as I said before with Billy, that will change the characteristic behaviour of some of these cars. And already we've had reports from around the circuit that there is drops of water on camera lenses and on windscreens out there at the moment. But cars away on their warm-up lap mark. And the interesting and critical thing about this motor race is the strategies involved. We have 2 pit stops, compulsory pit stops, 1 for fuel, 1 for tyres, and they will happen between laps 16 and 57.
Fascinating part about that tactics is we've seen it determine the race result before. If you remember, last year your teammate Glenn Seaton at the time, he came in for his tyre stop first, so by the time he got toward the end of the race, he was looking vulnerable. Very important, the way you call tactics here. We're going to run through the in-car cameras. We're on board the Super Cheap Autosport. 3 cameras here, giving you all the action from Stephen Ellery's car. A little bit further back in the pack, Paul Radisich as well.
4 cameras on board with Paul. We've got the 360-degree view, the shot of the driver, a rear shot and a bumper shot. We'll have all the action covered with the Shell Helix camera on board Paul's car. He's qualified well. He'll be right in the thick of the battle throughout. He was the fastest man in inverted commas official qualifying before the shootout.
Speaking of men to watch, the Ford in-car camera with Craig Lowndes. We've got 3 cameras on board here, full 360-degree pan. Driver shots, rear shots as well. So the man who did so well here in 1999 looked like he was on a repeat performance last year until mechanical problems cut him down. He's going to look strong in 2001.
The pole sitter, Greg Murphy, working the tyres hard. The Kmart onboard camera. He was quick yesterday, just quick enough to be in front of fellow TWR Australia driver Mark Scaife. Tiniest of margins, and that's one of 3 views from on board with the Murph.
Russell Engel carrying our Monroe in-car camera in the Castrol Commodore. Let's check out the Ford race analysis on the streets of Adelaide. Total distance, 78 laps, so just over 250 kilometres. 40 starters on the grid. Now keep in mind there's 1 compulsory tyre change and 1 compulsory fuel stop. They have to take place between the end of lap 15 and the end of lap 57. And of course the 2000 winner Mark Scaife, boy, he's been quick in qualifying. He starts off the front row of the grid. Could the champ go back to back in 2001?
There's Ashby. We mentioned before that he's going to start from pit lane.
Only moments away from the start now. The revs begin to rise.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Ready for the start of the Clipsal 500 for 2001.
Oh, look at this.
Incredible start for Mark Scaife up on the inside very quickly alongside Greg Murphy heading to turn 1. I think it'll be Scaife prevailing. Radisich slips through to 3rd. The tyres that were present yesterday for the shootout to try and stop drivers from shortcutting the track have been removed. This is a passing spot up the inside for turn 4 into Wakefield Street. Lots of bumps.
They've got to play it cool. They've got to play it cool here. 250 kilometres, double points tomorrow. Today's race is a real race of survival. We've got problems here for Dougal McDougall
and Paul Wheel.
and Paul Romano and Greg Ritter.
and Tratt on the inside there in the Toll IPEC entry.
Unbelievable stuff.
They worked all night on Paul Wheel's car after a really bad crash yesterday, and that's not the thing he deserves, that's for sure.
Tough area up there in the braking area for turn 4 at the top of Wakefield Street. It's bumpy. They've got cold tyres. They've all got 120 litres of fuel on or close to it. Most of them will run fuel heavy in this opening stint for the race. And it's on for young and old up front. Scaife covering as they come down towards the hairpin turn 10. And we've got one of the Kiwi entries out of business, 21.
Jason Richards.
And that's pretty severe damage. He's made contact with the wall and he'll be coming back into the pit lane, no doubt, at the end of this lap. But at least he's mobile and can bring the thing home. There's a lot of damage to the front of Richards' car.
We've seen that team in dramas throughout practice and qualifying. The Team Kiwi not off to a good start, but look at this great start by Mark Scaife, the reigning champion, and the Holden Racing Team Commodore. Greg Murphy in the Kmart machine right up behind him. There's the first of the Fords, the Rat. On fire in the Shell Ford, then Todd Kelly, then Marcus Ambrose in the Pertec Ford.
The name of the game here is just to settle down, really, and not lose contact, because it's a really, really long, hard race, and to get everything nice and warm, get the brakes hot, tyres hot, everything, and not take any chances. And
one point that we've not made in the opening segments of the show is that unlike the other races that we'll see this year, it is highly likely that safety car will play a role. So it would be pointless at the moment, Barry. Let's say you had pace in your car. There's no point disappearing down the road, burning up your tyres and brakes, because it's going to be taken away from you anyway, most likely.
Oh, look at this. What have you got? Oh,
Shell Helix replay shows McLean may have triggered that. Maybe. There could be more to it. Dougal goes round. Rodney Forbes gets through. Cameron McConville there. Then the traffic jam starts. Paul Wheel bonk. He's got Paul Romano behind him. Ritter's in trouble there. Tratty's off to the inside, parked against the wall.
Let's have a look at that from the chopper again. And it's just a classic freeway end for end, isn't it?
Yeah,
one after the other.
We didn't actually get to see the triggering for that, so it's hard to know who did what to who. But
there's Cameron McLean.
Paragon Motorsports entry. He's got a major failure there. What's he going to do? Take it up?
Looks like a catastrophic engine failure there, and he's parked the car well out of the way, which is smart thinking, Cameron. Fastest lap of the race so far. Jason Bargwanna back in 12th with a 27.8. Just going beyond that top 10 you were talking about, Bright Bargwanna. Everywhere you look, there's a battle.
Oh, look at this, Murph.
Wow, you can see Scaife moving over to close off that option, and Ambrose very close behind Todd Kelly, under brakes for the hairpin. It's really on amongst these Holden teams at the front here as they swing up through Ford XR8 turn, head back toward the Mistral hairpin once again, and Paul Radicic looks very comfortable in third position, just shadowing these two leading Holdens.
You've got to say that Ambrose is the star so far when you think about it. The guy's never been here before. What's his third drive in a V8? I mean, he has a great future, no doubt.
I tell you, Ambrose is one to watch in this race too. I was talking to the team engineers this morning. He's done a remarkable job of knocking that car into shape and getting comfortable on a circuit that he's never driven on before. Very comfortable in the warm-up this morning. There he is, just sitting in behind Todd Kelly on his debut at Adelaide.
Incident here, David Bernard getting totally out of shape and touching the back of Stephen Ellery's car on the Shell Helix replay. 27.3 for Kelly on the last lap mark, so he's the fastest man on the track.
That's pretty quick when you consider how heavy the things are at the moment.
In fact, he just improved that by a 10th on this lap, 27.2.
So Kelly, the fastest man on the circuit. Look at this up the inside. The Radicic getting so close now behind Greg Murphy. There's not a cigarette paper in it, but sometimes he's right up behind the bumper of the Kmart car. A little lock brake there. Murphy's starting to feel the heat now.
I'd say that just armchair engineering from a long way out, but it looks like Murph's car is just getting a little bit oversteery, and once it starts to trend in that direction, it'll heat up the rear tyres. It'll start to hurt the car, it'll start to hurt the lap time, and that'll just be fantastic for Paul because he'll be able to sense it and work away at him. What he needs is to be able to get into position where he can get a run at him on a straight. So then the difficulty is with the car in front, it's so difficult to be able to brake where you want to brake and carry your mid-corner speed because you're being fumbled by the guy in front.
Looks like Radicic is carrying plenty of speed there too. He's very comfortable in third, looking for a way past that Kmart Commodore. The order at the moment, Mark Scaife, there's nothing in it. Greg Murphy in second, Paul Radicic, the fastest of the Fords, in third. Then there's Todd Kelly, Marcus Ambrose in the Pertec Falcon.
As it stands at the moment, as you were saying earlier on, I mean, there's no real sense. Radicic should be better off just sort of playing it cool, really, because Scaife's not getting away. And sure as X-Rex, you're going to have a safety car out.
That's right.
And
you can rob Peter to pay Paul here if you're not careful.
Mark Scaife. Just opening up a little bit of a gap. Only a car length or so over Murphy.
He's got a better run this time. Oh! And he's had enough of waiting.
Thank you. I'll take that. Radicic goes up the inside. Maximum intimidation from the Kiwi. All over the back bumper of that Kmart Commodore. You could see it getting a little bit sideways coming out of some of the corners.
We Australians wouldn't behave like that. Look at this. This is a great shot.
That's a good shot.
From the chopper. Now, Paul's got momentum. Murph's blocking him. He's entitled to do that. He's giving him just a little love bite to say, come on, I need some space. And Murph's woken up and thought, hang on, I don't need to have an accident right here, right now. Made his way through on the inside. Good work. That was excellent. Now, look at this. Marcus Ambrose.
Oh, Marcus.
Not quite sure what happened there. We heard word from the pits that Ambrose was in all sorts of trouble coming down pit straight, so you'd suspect that he's been served off.
Yeah. You don't just land there.
Oh, what a shame.
There's our man Greg Rust in the background on the case.
Look at that.
Wow.
Wow.
Todd Kelly.
That's a monster. That is a monster.
Whoa. Man, did he get served up there. He's gone right across. Fortunately, the marshal's getting out of the way.
Still begs the question why people hang over those fences.
Yeah.
Oh, what a hit.
Mark Scaife leads, but it's only just from Radicic, Murphy, Kelly, Tander, Seaton, Johnson and Lowndes. Don't go away. We'll have a conclusion to this little battle in a tick.
Scaife in the holder. Paul Radicic in the Ford. A classic fight.
Well, climbing the curbs may be the key to getting around this circuit very quickly, but it takes a lot of work to get the cars to be able to do it and handle it. I know Mark Larkham has struggled all weekend. He kept smashing his front bar on the spoilers, the front spoiler on those bumps. Glenn Seaton also cracked his windscreen every time he kept hitting the big bumps. So really, a lot of suspension work has to be done to make sure that they can last the distance doing that.
Look at the crowd at this place.
Well, they're going to be seeing plenty of action this afternoon. Barometric pressure continuing to drop. It's forecast of rain here. Oh, look at Scaife.
And because Mark senses that he's weaker than Paul in that area, he's now driving.
How good was that? Scaife keeping that car off the concrete walls.
Look at that. I tell you, I think the old stewards are going to be pretty interested in that.
What an amazing bit of car control, keeping that thing off the concrete walls. Great work by Mark Scaife, but look at how far he's dropped back to 16th or 17th now. I think that's Dean Canto up in front of him.
And has he ended up with tyre damage from that? He had to clamp the brakes on. Let's see if we can pick up his radio here. Just hang on a sec. So he's talking about tyres. Well, swap them. See, they're inside the window at the end of this lap. That's right. We're working lap 15. At the end of this lap, he could come in if he wanted to get rid of those tyres. He'll make an assessment. Here's the replay. Shell Helix replay. Radicic super quick across the curb. Scaife really trying to launch his car to defend, but he's not quick enough. Radicic gets stuck into the back of the car when they come to the braking area and gives it a wallop. Watch this.
Oof. See ya. And Scaife. I really thought he was heading toward the concrete wall there. I don't know how he managed to keep it off. Watch this from another angle.
You can understand Paul's frustration, but the bottom line is that's not how you pass cars. I mean, they will not like that.
No, they definitely
will
won't
not like
that.
I mean, he wasn't alongside the B pillar. I understand the frustration. He wants to go down the inside and Mark's there.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the rules just don't allow you to do that. I don't think they'll take too kindly to that.
Look at this. Have a good look at this one. Watch. Oh, it's... the stewards are really not going to like that in a big way.
That was amazing. Kmart Commodore, Greg Murphy now coming back out onto the circuit. So now all these stops are going to start.
I think he missed his pit.
I was going to say.
Oh, no.
There was something
I was waiting
unusual.
for him to actually come in then.
There was something unusual there. Grant.
That is indeed what has happened. You won't believe it. Murphy has come in to be the first man to pit. He shot straight past his teammate, locked it up, got it sideways. Then all he could do was continue out and then go around and do it again. What a shame.
That's going to cost him a ton of time. Slowing down. Here's Mark Scaife for his stop.
Scaife's gone. He's taken on his fuel stop. No, that's a disaster for Murphy because that's just net loss that time. What he needs now to be able, the only way out of jail there is if the safety car comes out and somehow gives him some of the time back. But
he's lost a massive amount of time. When you think, if you're watching at home, folks, how long it takes to get down that pit road, go down to the 60k speed limit down pit lane, stop, come out again. Well, Murphy didn't stop, but he's lost all that time slowing down and speeding up, so that's a massive advantage. And we hear from the pits, he's been given the word not to pit this time around. So I'm not quite sure what's going on down there in the Kmart racing situation at the moment. Look at this.
Oh, look at this. Whoa! Oh, dear me, Kelly.
As Neil Crompton described it, the cork in the bottle. And eventually the cork had to pop. Look at that, Todd Kelly now. He was involved in that incident with Marcus Ambrose earlier in the race. Now he's been on the receiving end, and he's coming into pit lane.
You notice Craig Lowndes was able to duck around that, but Stephen Johnson got tagged in it all. Now, has Johnson incurred some other performance in debilitating damage?
I just wonder if Todd Kelly was... Oh, no, I was wondering if he was backing off to go into pit lane. He didn't look like he was on racing line to go into pit lane.
He was just getting attacked. And, so Lowndes has moved up to third. And obviously, we'll be able to have a little bit closer look at it because sometimes it takes a bit of study. Let's go on board now with Craig. Let's see what happened. No, it's already happened by that stage. But look at this for reaction. Poor old Stevie, he's the one that gets carted out into the grass and gets reversed into by the Kmart car. Look, he just left a gap. Garth was given the incentive, but...
Oh, no, he could have been coming into the pits.
Not at that speed. Well, if he was coming in at that speed, I'd be very surprised.
If you look at it, it looked like the back was coming round already.
Yeah, no, I think...
Well...
At the moment on track, Stephen Ellery leads the race from Paul Radicic, who is in fact the de facto leader, you might say. Ellery yet to pit.
The interesting thing, guys, we've done some checking with race director Tim Schenken to just see whether or not there was going to be further discussion about that incident between Mark Skaife and Paul Radicic. They're saying at this stage, racing incident, no further action.
I have to say they're consistently inconsistent. You know, it's that
amazing situation.
The only way that would be arrived at, that decision would be arrived at, would be if, and let's have a look at a Shell Helix replay before we just finish that remark. And Larko's in trouble here, up on the ripple strip, turned around and brushes the wall. Don't know whether he was helped or whether it was a solo performance, but he gets away unscathed. But just going back to that little topic, the only thing that I can imagine Tim has interpreted the situation as Mark having been unduly blocking for too long.
Yes.
And
that makes sense.
Figures that, you know, all's fair in love and war. Yeah. So clearly he's the race director and we're not, and that's how it is.
Mark Larkham has actually been in for both of his pit stops now. After that spin, he came in, changed the tyres over. So he's done both fuel and tyres. One of the few teams to have actually completed all of their stops at this stage. So we'll keep an eye on his progress during this one.
One of only two, Rusty, because Kelly's done it as well, and it's not what they want to do because it's as a result of incidents. As Ingle comes in as well, means they've flat spotted or damaged their tyres and they've had to take fuel. But now they've got to run from, we're on lap 35 all the way through to 78 with a heavy car and one set of tyres.
Now what we were watching there was a very interesting battle between race leader Radicic and Mark Larkham. Larkham is in fact trying to unlap himself. If he gets in front of Radicic in car 18 and you get a safety car period, he's going to make up that full lap. He's going to looking very, very strong because he is one of only few cars now that's made his 2 compulsory stops.
Yes.
Keep an eye on the ICS Ford if things fall into his lap with safety cars this afternoon.
We got a full course yellow. Yeah, we have. Safety cars gone out. Lap 38 of 78. So now, what does this do to everybody's strategy?
Well, makes them get the old pencil out again.
Yeah, it's because you got the Holt car up Wakefield Street. You got Rodney Forbes' car down at turn 5. Too many cars stranded in awkward and potentially dangerous positions.
So, fascinating situation here. We're getting ready or waiting for these lights to come off on the safety car. They are off on the safety car. So we're going back to full green racing conditions this lap. Jason Bright's at the front of the queue, but keep in mind he's still got to make another compulsory stop. The effective race leader in terms of pit stops is Paul Radicic. Craig Lowndes is second. Stephen Johnson is third. They're a bit further back in the queue. We've got to wait for these other cars to peel off.
Look at one of the Valvoline cars getting impatient with Ritter there, who's supposed to be much closer when they get to the start-finish line. You should be with no more than a couple of cars behind, and he was miles behind. I think it was Bargwanna that was showing, yeah, it was Bargwanna who was frustrated by that. He's giving him a tap. Get on with it, get on with it.
Okay, we're going to have a look through the sums we've done so far. There's a battle here. If you just look further down the pack, there's a real traffic jam coming up Wakefield Road.
Ellery gets into the back of bow. That's Fogg in the 777.
Oh, look, whoa, Lounsey. Called him Houdini getting out of that.
Fogg in that Team Kiwi thing was also miles behind when they took the restart as well. They've got to stay bunched up. That's in the rules, and these blokes don't understand the rules.
Stephen Johnson did a fantastic job of getting up inside Craig Lowndes there, so it's a shell forward 1-2 back in the pack. Keep in mind they're the first cars in the group that have made both compulsory stops. So if you take all these cars out of the front of the queue here and really look at what's going on in this race, the lead is effectively Paul Radisich, Craig Lowndes, or that's swapped around now, Johnson, Lowndes in third, Ingle fourth, Seaton in fifth, and Mark Scaife, after getting turned around early in the race, he's made 2 stops, he's up to 6th.
Lowndes straight down the inside of Richards with ease.
So they've got to just keep their cool here. These tyres back up to the optimum temperature, the optimum pressure. Paul Romano and the Holden Young Lions Commodore. And he has had a wretched season.
Wrong with the right rear.
Look at the rear. Looks like the... Oh!
That's toe in, toe out, and wheel off.
Yes.
They wheel that one out of the shop. Look at Russell Ingle. Yeah. So now the enforcers start to do a little bit of enforcing. We haven't seen this for a while. The Castrol Commodore looking strong on the streets of Adelaide as he zeroes in on the back of the 00 Ford. He looks down the inside as they come up toward the centre chicane.
Very, very difficult place to pass too, because it's diminishing returns. The radius of that corner and where the room you end up with on the other side means it's sort of more likely to end up with nuts and bolts scattered out the other edge.
I just wonder if these cars up in front of these guys who have still to make their second stop for tyres, just hanging out there waiting for another safety car period or perhaps a sudden change in the weather. Look at how Lowndes gets to Stephen Johnson.
And he has to really press on because Russell is all over the back of Craig.
Hasn't Russell got some good race speed here? He's looking very, very strong. Monroe in-car camera. He's the fastest of the Commodores at the moment. He's got Glenn Seaton behind him. A bit further back, Mark Scaife. Up over the ripple strips, looking back at Russell Ingle with the silver. Lowndes up the inside. Johnson gives him racing room, and Lowndes takes up another position. He's up to second. Look at Russell Ingle. He wants a slice of the action too. He's side by side with the shell forward.
It's a nice move by Lowndes. Didn't block a break. Got it done cleanly.
Beautifully controlled. And Stephen Johnson, got to give him credit there. He didn't want to get into a ding-dong under brakes. He gave him room when he saw that the corner had been claimed. Look at Russell Ingle now up the inside. Look at the damage on the door of Stephen Johnson's car.
And he's just yielded. He just left room there. They haven't made contact, but...
Oh, he's getting quite close.
Here he goes to the inside.
Had a horrible
place to do it.
I had a horrible feeling we're just about to see an Ambrose Kelly incident there. But no, the boys are playing it sensible at the moment. Russell Ingle knows he's got a long way to go. Incredibly exciting first leg of the Clipsal 500 for 2001. It always turns it on here. It's a brilliant battle. Jason Bright leading, Garth Tander in second, Murphy in third. But that's not the order when the pit stops happen.
Well, David Bernard,
look at that.
David Bernard, your Caltex car, your Havanay car, I should say, has now retired. You parked it in because of the 7 cylinders, not because you're crook?
No, because of the 7 cylinders. If the car had been right and I was driving hard, who knows? I'm not feeling too well, but yeah, it's pretty hard to pull me out. I wasn't going to give up that easy.
Yes, I know the boys were saying to you, come in. You said, no, I want to stay out. You're a tough man. I know you. Yeah, I remember you raced against, I think it was Jason Bright. You came second to Bathurst in a Formula 4 with a broken leg, so you got a lot of guts, and you're just having trouble keeping them down.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. But no, we had fun out there. We may even go back out before the race is over. The way it works, if you finish the race, you start where you finished. If I don't finish the race, it goes off qualifying time, so we might have a little think about that, and we could be back out there yet.
All right, well, hard luck. Keep fighting.
Thanks a lot.
We've got a fantastic battle on the streets of Adelaide. Just remember for that interview, Craig Lowndes took the lead.
Yeah, that was a good move by Lounsey.
And Russell Ingle moved up a position as well. So 2 changes in a very short space of time. There's a real battle on now for the lead of this one. And it's a ripper.
And at the moment, we have a number of incidents going on. We'll go through them for you as we are once again under a full course yellow and the safety car is out there. This is Greg Murphy parked on the side of the track, and that's why the pace car or the safety car is out there. But there's been plenty happening while that's gone on, gentlemen.
And here's a replay of what happened to Greg Murphy. Launches off the inside curb and then straight across the outside curb. This is at turn 9 and wallop into the wall in no uncertain terms. That's turn 9. Same place Paul Wheel went off yesterday, and with much the same result. This is a replay from, I think it's Craig Lowndes' car.
Yep.
And that's Murph off in the distance. And yeah, it makes you wonder whether that car had another problem, because it just didn't look to me like he was turning right at all.
I think somebody set a broken steering arm.
There you go. That'll do it.
Oh, that's nasty, isn't it? Oof.
Well, they got those tyres there to try and arrest the car before it went headfirst into the concrete.
You still get a fair old lump, though, don't you? Oh, look! Oh, wow.
John Faulkner hooking a hose on the rear wing end plate and dragging gantry hoses, G-size bottles with nitrogen in them.
And look at that. He's actually caught up Mark Larkham's crew in the process.
Oh, wow.
Wow, what a disaster.
Oh, that's one of Mark's crew on the floor there.
Yep. Hopefully he's okay. It's just an absolute tangle of there's the injured crew member, in fact, with a big lump of ice on his head. Well, what a moment.
The Munro safety car is about to let them go again. It won't be too long. The lights are off and they'll be set to race once more the Clipsal 500. Let's have another look. This is John Faulkner after he left pit lane, catching a couple of hoses, and there is one of the guns flying off the back. There are in fact two. The other one must have left the car a little earlier. He had two on the back, just trapped under the wing there after picking up hoses and taking down the gantry. Incredible scenes here at the Clipsal 500. The Munro safety car is off the circuit and the cars are on their way. What a procession. Lowndes in the lead from Radicic, Engel, Johnson, Seaton, Scaife. About 7 seconds off the pace, or he was. Of course, now he's much closer. So the man who leads the championship is looming up again. Oh, the bounce on Radicic's car. Geez, he's given that thing a workout today. If it makes it to the end, it'll be a feat in itself.
Yeah, that's given it such a whacking, isn't it? I mean, I can't imagine the thing can put up with that.
Absolutely frantic opening laps. Look at this. Radicic has been all over the road. Bounced it over the curbs, almost scraped the concrete on the way out of a couple of turns.
You'd have to wonder whether, in fact, that little launch off the curbing that time did damage to it, because all of a sudden he's lost massive ground. Look at the splitter at the front and the different ride height across there, or the actual different clearance to the road.
He's given that thing such a hammering. It's a brand new car, mind you, when it came into this race.
Never raced or rallied. One careful owner.
Yeah, it's copped a workout today. Boy, oh boy, look at the damage on that Shell 18 car. Ringle in there. In the Shell sandwich. Glenn Seaton.
Underneath Paul Wheel.
So this is a fantastic race now. It's a clean race, as we call it. All the cars here have done their 2 compulsory stops. They can race to the finish. They've got enough fuel.
Lowndes has bolted.
And Lowndes has got tremendous race speed. Said at the opening of this race, him and his engineer and the whole Gibson team just working toward the best race setup they could possibly get under any situation.
10/10ths driving, brilliant driving, and strategy.
So you're seeing the result of all that. Motorsport is one of the greatest team sports in the world, and it really does involve all the teams now, more so now than ever. And look at that! Radicic's car is not... He's got some front suspension damage. I'll say that car is not responding at all to his input through the corners.
It must be steering weird. That is not what you want to do on the chicane entry to Wakefield Street. Here's the Shell Helix replay. This is the start of the race. That's a massive jump.
That is
a massive jump.
They didn't bend something on the front right, then nothing will.
That was looking rearward from Craig Lowndes' car. That was after the restart.
This is not the Adelaide Rallycross track, folks. This is the Adelaide Street Circuit. And Paul Radicic is attacking it. Look, he's going to turn it into a smoking heap pretty soon.
Right front.
Look at Lowndes. He's monstering this field. As a result of this battle, 7.8 seconds now. He's just taking a second out of these guys every lap that Radicic holds them up.
They're doing 29s. He's doing 27s. Look at this. Russell makes a move.
Straight on.
He's going to drop a couple of places out of this one. Now he tries to carve Cito up.
Boy, good recovery on that.
Show. Fords, 1, 2, 3 at the top. This is a fantastic battle.
Lowndes has been making hay, unbelievable. Now Glenn starts to flick the lights on and says to Russell, out of my way. Scaife wants in.
Look at the traffic jam here. You got the Shell reigning champion with his headlights on. He's in behind Glenn Seaton.
Got sweaty hands. I wish I was out there.
Trying to find a way. You can see how
this is terrible.
Oh, it's horrible for you there, isn't it? I mean, terrible.
Trouble. Mark Larkham's one of the protagonists. Can't see who it is behind the tree.
I think it's
Tom Kelly.
Kelly.
Look at the damage.
Kelly has been in the wars today. We saw him get tangled up in that battle with Marcus Ambrose in the opening laps. And now he finds himself going right to the back of the queue after a big contact down at the hairpin.
And the queue's an important thing. Look at this bloke leading with a 9.2 second lead. Some kind of rear suspension problem or failure. Broken the linkage at the rear, I'd say. Look at this thing, it's smoking. Yeah, something odd. Look at that, the whole rear, the whole diff assembly's moved across.
It must have been where he came out, whacked the wall, out of the chicane, by the looks of it.
Well, they just won't take that kind of punishment. Ultimately, look at the poor old thing, and it's brand new.
It's a brand new car.
That was a merciless display of driving from Paul Radicic. He really hammered this car from lap 1, and it's just cried enough. There's only so much these cars can take. They're big, tough old buses. Look at this challenge down the inside by Jason Bright. He split the Valvoline Cummins pair. Stephen Ellery's trying to go with him. But here comes Paul Radicic. A car full of smoke. What a sad end to what has been a brilliant race. Paul Radicic is showing so much speed, and you can quite graphic there.
Tremendous pace early on, but
you can see that complete rear axle housing moving from left to right. All the suspension pickup points are broken.
Stay on, linkage is broke. Right, pit lane to me and go straight in the garage, please. We'll see what we can do. I can see you're in pit lane now.
Word is from the pits, go straight into the garage.
60k, please.
What a sad end. We barely see Paul Radicic through all the smoke. He's waving to the crew saying, no, forget it, boys.
I can't imagine that. Well, there's no really time left, is there? Really?
Well, also just had information that Stephen Richards has been penalised for speeding in pit lane.
And listen to the cheer from the Holden fans as the door comes down on Dick Johnson Racing.
Order is Lowndes, Johnson, Ingles, Seaton, Scaife, Tander, Bright, Bow, Ellery, Bargwanna.
There's very little between that leading queue of cars. They're going to need another safety car period, and they'll be bumper to bumper once again. But certainly in terms of race speed, the Gibson Motorsport Falcon, driven by Craig Lowndes, looking very strong out front. That lead was out to 10 seconds. It's down to about 9.3 now. We're going to monitor the gap between Stephen Johnson in second place and Craig Lowndes in the lead.
It's going to stay at about that. I mean, they're just going to nurse it in from there.
I was going to say, if there's a safety car, I think poor old Fred Gibson would cry. It'd be so unfair.
Oh, Stephen Ellery bags him up coming onto the main straight.
Just put the left rear on the high side of the curb and got into the grass a little, and for a minute there it looked like it might have turned him around.
No, I haven't touched the curbs, actually. I can't understand why this is...
Yeah, it's showing some rub marks under the splitter. Did you touch a curb somewhere?
That is unbelievable.
It's incredible.
That is unbelievable that you can treat a car like that. And there's 4 wheels off the deck and well and truly airborne for a good portion of time.
There's a fabulous photo around that has John all 4 wheels off the deck there. And there'll be another one now.
Wow.
That was spectacular. Incredible.
You almost have to set these cars up like 4-wheel drives, heading off on an expedition with sump guards and all sorts of protection underneath the floor.
These two are having a good go, Glenn Seaton and Mark Scaife. Old friends, came out of karting and have done a lot of very hard racing against each other. Mark's been bottled up behind Glenn for quite a while now. Oh, it's Jason, I'm sorry.
Jason Bright trying to find a way around this FTR Falcon, but Glenn Seaton showing plenty of race speed. Everyone's got the headlights on now. It's getting quite gloomy here, so they're trying to warn the traffic. Look at Bright, goes to the outside. Really missed it.
Yeah, really.
In case of getting out on the marbles now.
Yeah, you can't be out there too far because you just can't get back. It takes forever to slow the car down. Look, Ellery's pretty impatient now with John as well.
Wouldn't mind having a word Barry Sheen about a prediction on the Melbourne Cup this year. Just watching all this action on track and these guys bouncing them off the curbs. Baz picked it in 1. I've had a word to team boss Dick Johnson. Paul Radicic, when he glanced that wall before, has broken the Watts linkage. The rear end is kaput.
The whole car is kaput.
Look at that. What a fantastic picture that is, isn't it? I mean, that is amazing.
That would have to be the photograph, motorsport photograph of the year if someone captured those two.
Incredible.
There were 8 tyres off the ground at one stage there. Just shows how hard these guys are pushing. John Bow fighting for survival in the Caterpillar Ford. And a quiet build up to the race, but he was very strong here last year. He was the best placed forward at the end of 500 kilometres of racing. 8 laps remaining for race leader Craig Lowndes. The gap still 9.5 seconds.
Dear me. He won't be too pleased about that.
So John Bowe has been one of the harshest critics of the driving standards in V8 supercars. He says he's competing against a bunch of lunatics, and more often than not he seems to get served up by somebody. Big hit there from the Valvoline Cummins Commodore, so Bowe goes back, loses a little bit more track position. Fortunately the car looks like it's reasonably healthy. Let's have a look at that again.
Not really far enough up, but we've seen some interesting interpretations from race control today, so I'm not really prepared to comment anymore. You'd never know.
Exactly that. Probably get his licence taken away for that.
And what an incredible effort this has been by the Gibson Motorsport team to come into here the first time they're running a Ford product and to be showing a clean pair of heels to a lot of these other teams that are established Ford runners for many years. I don't think anyone could believe how successful Gibson Motorsport team has been in a very short period of time now.
Send it to me.
Well, what you're looking for, you're his teammate, don't forget.
Regardless of the fact that you will be driving for the team later on, you are an active member now, you've got to say the amount that has been done and achieved in that period of time is nothing short of phenomenal.
No, there's a lot of elements to that. Obviously, it was a good car from the start from the Stone brothers, so credit there. And then Oscar and all of the guys in the team have done a great job rubbing on this car to get the most out of it, not least of which is the driving from Craig, and he's just squeezing 10/10ths out of that thing all the time. It's a happy mix of people, terrific chemistry straight off the top, so it looks pretty good for later on.
Yeah, I was talking to Craig, and he said one of the great things is that your driving style and his driving style and the way you set up the cars, virtually like, oh, stop-go.
We've got a stop-go penalty here for Bargwanna, and I'm sure that was as a result of that incident with John Bowe down at the hairpin coming onto pit straight.
That's so good, because if your style being the same as Craig's, then you can get twice as much work done.
Yeah, and that's a very pleasing thing, obviously, for me. But it's just terrific to watch these guys work. They are professionals. They've gelled together very quickly. And I think one of the best things about the motor car is that it's very sensitive to change. When you make changes, it alters its behaviour and it gives you what you're looking for. This battle rages, though. We should be talking about this. Look at this. Let me get it right for once. It's Glenn Seaton and Jason Bright. Oh, that was hard.
Oh, it's a great battle too. Look at Bright. He's been trying to find a way around Seaton. He ducks left, he ducks right, he ducks every which way. He cannot find a way around past this blue Ford. Seaton is defending hard. And Jason Bright just cannot find a sniff of an opportunity here. Seaton's doing a masterful job of defensive driving. He's in 6th position. Let's have a look a little bit earlier on the Helix replay. There's been a number of...
Glenn went a little bit deep there.
Yeah. And pressure driving gave him a bit of a rub as well.
Don't forget, look down in 10th position. It's Dean Canto, the 2000 Conago V8 Supercar champion.
Sorry, Grant, we're just going to have to cut over the top of you there, buddy.
Dear.
But Jason Bright and Glenn Seaton came to blows. Brighty had a dive down the inside, and he's managed to turn himself and Glenn Seaton around. Seaton's parked up on the curb. Oh, can you believe this motor race?
See Brighty lighting up the rear tyres. It was like he was getting away from a bank robbery then.
Lowndes has had a spin.
Oh, whoa, dear, this is...
Lowndes has had a spin, we believe. Now, where has that put him? He had a 10-second margin. Just pushing too hard under brakes. Laps 75 or 78. This thing's alive to the very last metre.
It's going to be interesting to watch the timing monitor here as they come across the start-finish line. Oh, Glenn Seaton's out of action too. Well, what's happening here?
Oh, dear me.
Now, I really thought Seaton was going to drive out of that.
Oh, it's had a pretty fair old whack mark up against the wall. It's ripped the bumper off, and goodness knows what it's done to the left rear.
Well, he's out of the car, and the medical team on staff, and that's a typical scene you see at the Adelaide race. Very, very demanding on the drivers. The toughest race they'll ever have all year.
They might put a drip in. No, that's Craig going straight. Oh, it wasn't.
I don't think it was a spin so much as just a blue.
Yeah,
we had a report that it was a spin, but
how good must he feel, Neil?
Well, just to be over the moon. But it's a factual demonstration that the guy's a cut above, isn't he? I mean, he's a bit special.
He certainly is special.
Tom Walkinshaw said that even in their parting media conference that not only a few weeks ago, that people like this only come along every now and again, and he's a bit special. It's a tremendous performance. The entire Gibson motorsport crew can take pleasure in this. I think that to put this sort of margin on a field of this quality in such a tough motor race is an extraordinary outcome. Craig Lowndes.
Brilliant. Absolutely amazing.
Answers the critics, does the business for Ford, lines up on the start-finish line for the last time. The cheering crowd comes out. Craig Lowndes is the winner.
What a drive.
Absolutely incredible. That team can take a big bow.
How good will Gibbo feel now?
He will be over the moon.
Great performance too from Junior Johnson. Yeah, fantastic drive from Junior, second generation racer, having a much better run in 2001. Brings it home in second. That puts him on the outside of the front row for the start of leg 2.